Hey, what's up, everyone? It is Jenny Dildine, the LDS Mission Coach, and you are listening to the LDS Mission Podcast, episode number 143, How to Create Your Own Luck. I'm Jenny, the LDS Mission Coach, and whether you're preparing to serve a mission, currently serving, a returned missionary, or a missionary mama like me, I created this podcast just for you. Are you searching for epic confidence, ready to love yourself and to learn the how of doing hard things? Then let's go. I will help you step powerfully into your potential and never question your purpose again. It's time to embrace yourself, embrace your mission, embrace your life, and embrace what's next. Hey, everybody. Welcome to the podcast. Happy Friday to you. I hope you're doing well. We're headed into weekend of St. Patrick's Day. I love kind of this spring time of year where everything feels a little bit fun and new and magical. This is the time of year where we, think about leprechauns and rainbows and glitter and rainbows, all of that fun stuff. And I recently got asked to serve in the nursery of my ward, and I'm totally planning on doing some kind of a St. Patrick's Day craft in there with them. I think that will be really fun. I feel like today I have a little bit of a frog in my throat, so I don't know, it's a little bit scratchy for some reason. First of all, I did go to my choir rehearsal last night. I've mentioned it here before, but I belong to the Millennial Choirs and Orchestras, and I sing with them and I volunteer with the kids, and I usually come away from those rehearsals quite vocal fatigued. Plus, I think my daughter was sick last week, and I think there's just stuff in the air. So bear with me if I do sound a little bit like raspy, more than normal at least. I wanted to share a couple things with you. First of all, my birthday is coming up, and around my birthday, I usually like to do some kind of a giveaway just to celebrate and to thank you guys for being here and things like that. And so one of the things that I would like to do is I would like to run a special starting today. So today's March 15th. I would like to start a special today for Mission Prep Plus. And I would like to, because you guys are all my friends and I am happy you're here and I love spending time with you, I would love to give you a little bit of an offer to bring a friend to Mission Prep Plus in April or May. So what we're going to do is we're going to have, if you buy one Mission Prep Plus, then you will be able to get another one half off. And I'm super excited about that because sometimes it does feel a little bit better to do something with a buddy. And so that's what we're going to do. So starting March 15th until April 15th at midnight, if you buy one Mission Prep Plus, you can get another one half off. The way that will probably work best is if you both sign up, and then you can just email me, jenny@jennydildine.com, and say, hey, we signed up together. And then I'll make sure that you can get that discount and a little bit of money refunded back to you. So that is super fun. So we're going to run that all the way through my birthday, which is April 1st, and then tax day, the 15th. And that is when we will be done with that extra little bonus for Mission Prep Plus. I have an entire podcast episode about Mission Prep Plus. If you're curious about it, we've been running it. It's super amazing, and I wish more people knew about it. In fact, if you feel like you would like to help with getting the word out about sort of these mental and emotional tools for missionaries before they leave and when they come home, just even share this podcast with someone that you know. I would appreciate it so much. They just really, I got an email actually this week from a woman I was kind of emailing about Mission Prep Plus, and she basically said how she so wished that that this sort of thing existed before her son went on his mission, because he's coming home now and she knows that he's going to need some sort of like help or guidance or counseling after he gets home. And I just said to her, I'm like, I know I've seen it over and over, and it could be so different for missionaries and for our friends that are leaving on their missions if they just had some tools and strategies to figure out how to be kind to yourself even when you're having a bad day, to figure out what do you do with a difficult companion, to figure out what do you do when you fail and you don't reach your goals, and all of that kind of thing. It's mind-boggling how much just having a few of those tools in your back pocket on the mission can completely change your mission experience. And so I'm excited about that. Buy one, get one half off. So let me know if you hop in there, sign up. All the details are on my website, or just email me too if you have any questions. Okay, let's jump into what we want to talk about today, which is how to create your own luck. Luck, I tend to see it as something that we believe that we have or we don't have. Sort of like I was thinking about, I have a sister that every time we went to the mall as we were growing up and my dad was in the car, if she was in the car, if my sister was in the car, my dad was driving, there was always a magical, really close parking spot. And my dad would be like, oh, you're the lucky token or whatever for us to get this close parking spot. And I tend to think of it like this, like either I'm lucky or I don't, or I'm not lucky. Or if we think about like I have a lucky streak of things where things are going well for us, or a not lucky streak or things are not going well for us. But if we want to start to learn how to create our own luck, we've got to think about like, what is luck specifically and how does it work in our brains? Okay, you guys know we're always going to probably come back to talking about our thoughts and our feelings. I want to talk to you about your thoughts, and I've mentioned this on the podcast before, but there's this amazing thing with your brain. It's called confirmation bias, that whatever you're believing, your brain is going to work to prove true. It's going to make it true in your life. And so if you have a thought like, and you're on the mission and you have a thought like, we just haven't had any luck finding people, guess what your brain will tell you, like will make true in your life, is you will have a really hard time finding people. Or if you have a thought like, we just weren't lucky enough to meet our goal, guess what will happen is that your brain will find all of the reasons that you aren't lucky enough to meet your goal, and that you probably will have a harder time meeting your goal. If you have this thought like, my roommate or my friend always has all the luck when it comes to guys and dating or whatever, right? Is that when we think she has the luck and I don't, our brains will go to work proving that true. So any date that we're on, basically, our brains are going to be like, see, this didn't work. I'm not lucky. Picture it kind of like a filing cabinet, is that if you have a thought that you believe, like I'm just not lucky when it comes to parking spots, your brain will have a filing cabinet that it starts to fill all of evidence and proof that that is true. So every time I go to the mall and I don't get a parking spot that I want, then my brain's like, yep, see? And here's the thing that's so crazy about this, is even the ideas or the thoughts or the beliefs that we have that don't feel good when we think them, our brain will still go to work proving those things true, even if we don't feel good when we think it. So remember this saying, your brain wants to be right more than it wants you to feel good. So eventually, picture it like we get evidence and more evidence that our roommate is always has the most awesome guys that are reaching out to her and we just never get asked out, or the district next to us is always meeting their goals and we never meet our goals. And we just aren't good at talking to people on the street, right? Whatever we believe, our brain will start to fill a whole, not just a filing cabinet full of evidence to prove that true, but think of like rooms and rooms and rooms of evidence. Now, some of these thoughts become sort of beliefs over time because the room is so full of evidence that it just feels true to our brain. It's almost like by this point, when it just feels true, we put on glasses, right? That things don't work out for me. Or I'm not good at talking to people, or I never meet my goals, or I never follow through, or other people get all the luck, right? So we just put on these glasses. And what's crazy is even if that's not true, those thoughts, we are unable to see other possibilities because now we're wearing the glasses of that thought or that belief. So one thing that I was thinking about is I've talked about before on here about how I have a son with special needs who's on the autism spectrum. He's down living in Orem and he's doing great. He graduated last year. But when he was graduated from high school last year, but when he was young, things were really tough. And I felt like I was sort of always either in some sort of like confrontation with him because he was highly emotional, or if I was just like had to shut down so I could sort of like function and get through things. And so I remember being with one of my friends and I just said, it's so hard to have a kid on the autism spectrum. And let's just say, first and foremost, of course, let's always go ahead and validate ourselves by saying, yeah, that is hard. It is hard, whatever you're going through. If you're not meeting your goals, if your dating life is not going well, if you're not getting the number of baptisms that you were hoping for, let's just say that is hard. But something happened when I was on a girls' trip with this friend, and she just said to me, but what if it isn't hard? And she didn't say it in a like condescending way, like, are you crazy? You shouldn't think about it that way. Like, she just offered me this other way of thinking about it. What she did in that moment is she allowed me to take off my glasses, that filing cabinet full of evidence that I'd created for myself, that being the mom of this child was hard. And it only took me a second, like, to take those glasses off and be like, oh my gosh, what if she's right? And it was just that little bit of a shift that did allow me to start to surrender to the process that I was in and find strength and find other ways to make it easier on me and to make it easier on my son. Okay. Maybe you feel this way about your mission. I was working with a client once who basically, like, he was on the mission, and every time we talk, I'd be like, well, we could try this or we could try this. And he'd be like, yeah, but it's just hard to do. And totally, of course, it is hard to do. It's hard to think about it that way. It's hard to go through those things. It's hard to have your mission president sort of not include you, or it's hard to have, I don't know, to not be seen by your companion or whatever. All of that stuff is hard. So that's not what I'm saying. But what happens is when we just believe my mission is hard, or like having this companion is hard, we never take off those glasses and we start building that filing cabinet full of evidence to prove that thought true. And what's crazy is if we could just take those glasses down just for a second and be like, I might be wrong. Then we would see something else, and we would see the other possibility, and we would see perhaps what is available for us to think instead. I have this other example of where I was the lead in my high school musical, and it was called The Fantasticks. Maybe none of you have really heard of it, but it was a very small cast. I was the lead. And during this one scene, Louisa is the character. She kind of goes from the comfort of her own home to kind of go see the world and explore the world and everything that is going on around her or outside of her little bubble, basically. And as she goes and does this, there's this guy that's there that's her guide, and he gives her this mask. And so I had this really pretty picture like Mardi Gras kind of mask that was on a stick, and I would hold it in front of my face. That character, if she held the mask in front of her face, she could see all of the good stuff and all of the beautiful things about the world that she was sort of exploring. And when she would take that mask down, she would see all of the yucky stuff and the not as amazing things about the world that she was exploring. And so we almost become, when we have these beliefs about how lucky we are or how privileged we are or how privileged we're not or how everything works out for other people, it's basically like having that mask on. And in this case, when she had the mask on, she saw the positive, but you might have some thoughts in there that are not serving you because they just keep you in that spot. It's all your brain can see. I don't know if you can think of any examples in your life where it's just like, maybe you go to your district meetings and you have this belief like, no one here listens to me, right? And then everything everyone says, or every little thing that everyone does, or every side glance, or every interaction that you have with people, you're like, see, no one listens to me. See, no one cares about my ideas. Do you see what I mean? And so that, or like, let's say you have this belief that your friend group isn't good at including you. If we believe that, and that's the glasses that we have on, your brain will go to work to prove that true. And every single like hangout that you're on or group date that you're on or whatever dance you go to, your brain will make that true. And I don't know if this sounds familiar, but you're like, see, yep, I was right. They don't include me the way I want to be included. Okay? I hope this is making sense to you. So instead of just being blinded by this belief that we've had, like, I'm not lucky, nothing works out for me, we just open ourselves up to what else could be true. And here's the thing that's so fun is when we do that, almost anything else is possible. We get out of the way that we've been thinking about something for such a long time. And just like with my son, I was like, wait a second, what if this could be easy? And that just opened up a whole new world for me. So let's talk about, just before I let you go, just a few tips to have in your back pocket to create your own luck. And these would maybe be kind of the steps that you would want to take if you want to see more magic and more luck and more kind of, sparkle in your life or excitement in your life. Okay. So number one is believe that you have it. So instead of being like, it never works out for me, I'm never lucky in that regard, believe that you are. That's the first step, because as soon as you believe that you are lucky and that things work out for you, and things work out for you better than you could even imagine, that's the kind of glasses you'll put on. And that's what you'll start seeing, and your brain will start compiling a whole room of evidence about that. My own son, the one that I've been talking about a little bit on this podcast, the one with special needs that's on the autism spectrum, I really do believe that he's magical because it's just amazing to me how things just work out for him. And I actually believe that he believes that things are just going to work out for him. And they always do. Like, he's the least likely person, probably, if you were to just like look at him and see kind of the hardships he's been up against, to think that he would be as successful as he has been. But in high school, their marching band took like first in the entire competition for the district. He won his hockey tournament for the year. I probably won't say it the right way, but they won that. He had a girlfriend. He was living his best life. He got into the school that he wanted to get into. And I just think whatever he touches turns to gold is magic. And I, again, think he kind of believes that too. And so that is what actually ends up happening in his life. So number 1 is believe that you have it, or believe that you are lucky, believe that you know how to make things happen. Decide that what you want in the future is for sure happening. I love this one so much because let's say you want to run a marathon. Let's say you are interested in getting married. Let's say you want to serve a mission. Maybe you haven't left yet. Maybe you want to be a theater major. I don't know. Maybe you want to be a piano performance major. Maybe you want to cure cancer or whatever. Whatever you decide to do, decide that it's for sure happening. Like the way I think about myself and my future, I'm like, imagine her and what she is going to be like. Like, what is that version of Jenny going to be like? Picture that for yourself. Maybe if you're on your mission, what is the version of you that's already home thinking and feeling? And what are they doing? Like, for sure, I'm going to feel fulfilled and happy and content and proud of myself and grateful when I get home from my mission. So think of that future person. It can be in 3 months or 3 years after you've already accomplished the thing. So after you've already run the marathon. And then ask yourself, how does that version of me think and feel? Now, the magic is, the luck is creating a space right now where you think and feel those emotions now. So if you suspect that once you're married, you're going to feel content and happy because you're thinking, I'm living my best life, the magic is you create your own luck when you bring that thought and feeling to the present moment in your dating. And instead of being like, this is never going to work out, you just decide, I'm living my best life right now. And you create that contentment and peace and happiness now. See what I mean? That's the magic, is pull the thought and feeling from the future and bring it to the now. And even if it's hard to believe it sometimes, you're like, that was the hardest workout I've ever had. I don't know if I'll ever be able to run a marathon. You go, no, actually, future me's already run a marathon, which I never want to do, by the way. But if that's you, go to the future version of you that's already done the thing and say to yourself, how am I going to think and feel? And maybe you're going to be feeling proud or accomplished, okay? Because you're thinking, I'm pretty amazing and I'm doing an amazing thing. Bring that thought and feeling to the future or to the present moment and think that now, even on the days when it was a hard run. Like, I'm amazing. I'm doing something amazing, and feel that fulfillment now. That's the magic. Okay, third thing, become an agent to make stuff happen. And what I mean by this is, I think a lot of times we feel like it has to just sort of come to us, luck or the things that we want to have happen. Like maybe you've always wanted to create an Instagram account where you can inspire people, or maybe you've always wanted to create journals for sister missionaries or something like that. Or maybe you've always wanted to graduate in a chemistry degree so that you could do something amazing with that. Sometimes I think we get a little bit stuck because we think it's not possible. And so we just don't take any action. We just think that'll never be me. But if we've already taken these steps, first of all, believe that you can have it. Second of all, tap into your future thought and feeling. Then third, that feeling that you're feeling right now is going to drive some action, and it's going to get you on the path to where you want to go. I've been thinking this week about what's the difference between making something happen and just being open to like God's plan, the luck, the magic, the spirit, all of that good stuff. And I had someone tell me this equation, which I thought was really fun, which is like there's some stuff that we have control and influence over, right? Like I totally could have recorded this podcast or I didn't have to, right? But there's also me marketing this podcast, which is something that I can do. But I also can't go into your home and put the earbuds into your ear. So same with like if you're teaching someone on the mission. You can set the goals, you can get out there and you can meet people, you can invite people, and you can do all of that thing, but we don't have ultimate control over what they decide to do in the end, the person that you're talking to. So I was sort of talking about this on a group call, and someone messaged me after and said, why don't you think about it this way? Because what I had said to her, I'm kind of going all over the place, but hopefully you're following me, is like what I had said to her is I was like, I want A plus B to equal C. And I said, so I can just know for certain that something's going to happen. But that's not really how life works, especially when we're involved with other people and their ideas and their and the situations we're in. And if we want to talk about luck, like and the spirit and sort of magic and how that comes into it. And she said something like, maybe you want to think about it like A plus B plus X equals C. And sometimes she said the X, like it's kind of fun to think about it because that's like the X factor, right? That's the luck, or that's the openness, or that's the spirit, or that's the magic, right? That happens. Sometimes those things that are out of our power are going to work in our favor, and sometimes they're not going to work in our favor, right? Like, I don't know, like my business was a little bit slower during the holidays, right? So sometimes that X is going to like 10X us, and sometimes it's going to give us a result that's a little bit less than what we were hoping for. But that's totally okay, because the agent, we're in charge of A plus B. And then just know there's always a plus X. And I highly recommend that we just believe the plus X, the X factor is always working in our favor. And then that is what's going to give us the result or that outcome that you're after, right? So if we're running a marathon, it's like, I'm going to train, I'm going to do eat the way that this eating plan has told me. I'm going to get some help from a trainer, right? That's your A plus B. And then there's a plus X, which is sometimes going to be like, oh, it's all going to work out magically good, and the sun's going to be shining the day I run my marathon, and I'm going to have a lot of energy. And then the plus X is sometimes like, oh, well, actually, I have the flu. I can't run. But either way, become an agent to make stuff happen. Your life is yours, and you get to create whatever you want, and then be open to the luck and the magic. And then the fourth thing is look for all the ways that you are truly lucky, that things always work in your favor. You'll start thinking about it that way, and then you'll start seeing it that way, and then those results will start showing up in your life. You guys, if we really think about it, we all are magical. I mean, it's kind of mind-blowing, I think, that our heavenly parents, I love this song, and I know I've talked about it on this podcast before, but the primary song that is My Heavenly Father Loves Me, he says, He gave me my life, my mind, my heart. I thank Him reverently. And think about how crazy it is, and how lucky it is, and how magical it is that I can create something in my mind and then feel feelings, and then through my agency and actions, I can create an actual thing that exists in the world. I was thinking about this time last year is about when I started to put together Mission Prep Plus. And it was not even a thing that even existed in the world. I don't think anyone doing this mental and emotional preparation for missionaries. Or maybe they are, but like on a smaller, just like in our ward, or, your ward mission prep. But even when I've attended mission preps, it's much more about teaching and how to feel the spirit and things like that than what are the actual strategies you need to feel your best self when you're out there. Anyway, I started thinking about how I wanted to get this out to more missionaries at a bigger scale because there's so many missionaries. And it existed in my mind. And then I felt this passion and this desire to make it happen. And then I started putting the pieces together, and I started creating a resource manual, and I started hiring coaches, and I started hiring returned missionaries to work in that program so that they could help me. And to me, I created my own luck. I created my own magic. And it's just magic at all that I am so honored and grateful that I get to do this work at all, that I have a mind that works and a heart that feels things and feels things deeply, and then the agency or the ability to act in my own life. So think that for you too. Look for the ways you are truly lucky and truly magic. You are magic too. Okay? So I hope this has been kind of a fun episode for you to listen to. Let me go over it again real quick. Believe that you have it, the luck, or that you have the capability or the magic. Decide what you want in the future, and then bring that thought and feeling from future you to present. Become an agent and actually start making stuff happen. You have to do the A plus B, and then the plus X is like that X factor. That's not up to you, but just be open to it being amazing. And then number 4, look for all the ways you are truly lucky and truly magical. Like even just the mere fact that we get to be on this earth at this time and be creators with our minds and our hearts and with the things that we can do and create in this world. It's pretty magical. I love it. So, okay, you guys, I hope you have the most amazing week. Enjoy your St. Patrick's Day, and we'll talk to you next time. Serving a mission for the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints can present a unique set of challenges. And many of those challenges you might not even see coming. So you're going to want a unique set of solutions. It's easier than you think to overcome worry and anxiety, serve the successful mission you've always dreamed of, and navigate your post-mission experience with confidence. That is why I created some amazing free goodies that I'm sharing in my show notes. Maybe you'll want to grab the free training for preparing missionaries, my video course for RMs, or maybe you and I should hop on a free strategy call. If you're ready to take your preparedness to serve or your preparedness to come home to the next level, then go grab one of those freebies. And in the meantime, no matter which part of the mission experience you are involved in, just know that Jenny, the LDS mission coach, is thinking about you every single day.